Here with 8th grade history STAAR question prep. As always, when we get to the question, I recommend you push pause and then read the question, come up with the answer that you think is best, and then press play and we'll go over it together. So, history fact of the day. Thomas Jefferson, the writer of the Declaration of Independence, was a slaveholder. And interestingly enough, in the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson said that all men are created equal, and that we're endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable, which means inseparable, rights. Kind of a really interesting thing that the man who would say that was a slaveholder. That was in his first draft of the Declaration of Independence. He actually talked about the wrongs of slavery. Well, that draft was actually kind of changed and altered by him and some of the other founding fathers until the draft that we see today doesn't really mention slavery. All right, let's move on. Which of these occurred as a result of the 15th Amendment? Assuming you've already read all these possible answers, let's go over them. What is the question asking? That's always the first most important thing, right? Well, what occurred as a result of the 15th Amendment, which basically just means the 15th Amendment caused what? Well, what can I eliminate? That's the first thing I want to do. African American families divided by slavery were reunited. We don't have a lot of history of our country that talks about how African American slaves had this great happy ending where the families were reunited and everything was okay. So I don't think we're going to see that making a lot of sense here. Newly free men and women moved west to claim land. Well, though in some small cases this happened, it wasn't a direct result of the 15th Amendment. So at this point, we're left with two possible answers, and mainly we just need to know, well, what do we need to know? We need to know what the 15th Amendment was. Well, it was ratified in 1870. Ratified just means that it was signed into action. It became legal, and it was now part of the legal system of our country. So ratified in 1870, it said, the right of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied. So they shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Previous condition of servitude just means formerly a slave. Civil War was from 1861 to 1865. President Lincoln emancipated slaves in 1863. Well, this means that the 15th Amendment gave the right for African American men to finally vote. They shall not be denied that right to vote. We'll find out later that it was a few years later before women even had the right to vote. Amendments to the U.S. Constitution. So just quick overview of what those are. Amendments are changes, additions, or alterations to the U.S. Constitution. There are 27 amendments. The first 10 together are called the Bill of Rights.